returning guest. He is someone that you are going to know and love from a variety of different services. He has been recently promoted as the CEO of the Fivers Group. You'll recognize him from the Desire to Trade podcast. You'll also recognize him from his numerous publications, whether that be with investing.com, FX Street, and a variety of other publications. The man I'm talking about is an incredible human being. We're incredibly excited to have him on. I am incredibly honored to introduce to some and to present to others the incredibly savvy and smooth Saul Lokier. Welcome in, brother.
Hey, Aaron, that was an unexpected introduction. Thank you.
I had to make it exciting. You know, you have had such an interesting, crazy career. While I was preparing notes to make sure I really had a good understanding of who you were as a trader, and just from all the stuff that I was able to find, whether that be with your last interview of Jordan, I was really inspired by your story. I'm coming from Orlando. Of course, I grew up around a lot of people that are from different parts of Latin America and all this. And one thing I used to hear a lot from a really good friend of mine's mother is al mal tiempo, buena cara. This whole idea that in bad weather, you know, you show a good face, right? You show strength. And you came from a situation where you were in school, working nights at a hotel. I've worked nights before. I know how much that sucks.
Yeah.
You go and you try to become a trader. You lose 14 grand doing scaling into a trade that doesn't work well for you. You've gone through a lot of bad weather and you've come out so strong and so confident on the other end. My first question for you, Saul, is how are you able to bounce back from these situations? As traders, we're always in these tough situations and we always take losses, but it's not how many times you get knocked down, it's how many times you get picked up, right?
Yeah, that's a great one, Aaron. And I think it's not discussed enough, the fact that what you should be doing after taking a loss or being on a drawdown or in a bad situation. I think in terms of trading, we need to recover from two aspects, or in two ways. First, our trading skills, and second, our personality, or our emotions, or our psychology. So we need to make sure on both of them we are back into process focused and not into outcome focused. Because when we're trading, we're very biased into trying to get the most money possible, and we try to be as less emotional as possible. But when we suffer a loss, so our objective of making money has disappeared, and our objective of being emotionally and psychologically balanced is also challenging because you're all over the place. You might be angry, disappointed, stressed. So we need to make sure we, in both of them, we go into our process and we focus on the process, bringing both our these two sides of the game into balance. So we build on our emotions. We go out. We go back to workouts, meditation, journalize, recording, everything we do on our trading routine to bring our emotion state balanced again. And on the trading side, we do all of the processes to go into back to focuses on the process and not the outcome. So again, back testing, rebuilding this trust on our strategy, making sure we're applying the good trades and we're taking the good trades, and the tips are there, the points are there, and the diminishing risk, building confidence in our trading strategy, and eventually, once we're getting to the balance state, we can go back into the money focus and our being balanced on our emotional side. We increase our lot size and we get back into making money. But not after we go to our course, our fundamentals, both in our emotional state and our process, trading process.
Thank you for that, Sal. And you mentioned a few things that I really held on to there. When I hear you talking about balance, you mentioned something that you mentioned in our last conversation with you that we didn't get to dive into: meditation I know a lot of traders that say they meditate and don't actually meditate. What
Yeah.
does your meditation process look like?
Yeah. So back in the time, I was very skeptical about it. I couldn't believe how meditating would do good for my trading. And after trying it, I can assure you, Aaron, that's one of the few things that were like a pivot point in my trading career. Was so amazing. And I started just doing breathing exercise, not even in a certain technique or meditation technique. With the time, I went more into specific mindfulness techniques and specific breathing techniques. So that's something I practice day in, day out, regardless if I'm trading or not. And specifically, if I'm about to trade, if I'm about to go into a trading session, and even my trading rooms, traders don't see me doing that before, but I take a few minutes before, 5 minutes before I go into the training session. I focus in, I close my eyes, focus in my breathing, try to relax, breathe in, breathe out just for 5 minutes. During my training session, I make sure I'm also breathing. I'm not holding my breath in, so I don't get stressed. And after my training session, I also take just a cool down, a couple of breathing. So I'm also making sure I'm back to normal breathing. So it's not super. It's not very complicated. Just to the routine of doing it every day will make wonders for everyone's performance.
That's something else. And I don't want to push the meditation stuff too much, but you know, forgive me, I'm using this almost as my own like trading therapy situation. What's an example of a breathing technique that you use before the session or before your live stream, something like that?
Yeah. So there's a couple. There's the 4x4, in which you breathe in 4 seconds, hold 4 seconds, breathe out 4 seconds, hold 4 seconds, and then again and again for 4 seconds every step of your breathing or meditation. But it's just an example. The whole idea is to be focused on the breathing. You keep breathing and you remind yourself, keep breathing through the nose, and nothing fancy. Really nothing fancy.
Thank you for that. Even still, it's really tough for me. I've tried a couple different types of meditation. I've really explored mindfulness, and when I do it before the session open, almost every time, win or lose, I always walk out of the session or get up from my chair out of the session feeling so much better about my trading. So I think that's really beautiful that you do that. One of the reasons why I wanted to invite you on here was just to talk a little bit more about details where you're seeing traders be more successful. That is obviously one area where you've evolved meditation in your own trading. Where else have you evolved as a trader as your career has gone forward? You've been trading for, what, 13 years now?
Yeah, 13 years. I would say, from my own experience, Aaron, and from, in my role at Fibers, I've seen thousands of traders, both failing and both succeeding. And less than 1,000, even less, succeeding in the long run and getting to our larger accounts. And, you find out that the successful traders, their success doesn't come from a specific strategy or for something they do in the charts. You see scalper traders, swing traders, you see all kind of traders doing different things, different assets, different time frames, and they all are successful. So I started doing a little bit of research of what these traders have in common, because they all do different things, and yet they're successful. But there has to be something in common between them. And I came across very basic things, really basic. Just these guys are applying that. Okay, they have discipline to really apply these patterns or these habits. And some of them, I also have them. I just weren't aware. They're part of all these traders' arsenal, and they're very basic things. So we spoke about the first thing I would say is they master what they do. So I mentioned they all have different strategies, but they all master that strategy. So I could go ahead and ask them, okay, why did you take this trade, and why you didn't take that other signal? So they could give me a real answer of, okay, my strategy is built for, just an example, a trending market. And at that time, when I got the signal, the market was in a ranging phase. So it wouldn't make sense for me to take that trade. So that those kind of answers make you realize these traders, they all do different things, but they master and they are really experts in what they do and their strategies, and they understand the nuances, understand when to trade, when not to trade, how to trade, what's a good setup, what's a low quality setup, and and that way they would avoid all the noise that's outside, okay, of taking trades they shouldn't, or jumping into different strategies. So they would be very focused on one single strategy, and they would know it from from all angles, and that would be number one. Okay, that would be they master one thing or one strategy. The second thing would be dealing with losses that we a little bit we spoke about. So in trading, they know how to manage losses actively, or they know how to recover from drawdowns. They reduce some of them, they reduce risk size to get out of the drawdown, and they get back to normal sizes. So they know how to manage losses in terms of trading and in terms of personal. Okay, they all do some exercise, personal exercise to go out of bad times. So that would be two. The three was to journalize, and not all of them, and I have to be honest myself, I don't go every day and journalize what I do, but back in the time, and all of these guys did the same. They started recording everything. So they record what's happening with the trading before the session, during the session, after the session, and they record what's happening with themselves before the session, during the session, so after the session. So once you have these two images, okay, what was the setup? Why did I take the trade? How did the setup worked out? And then like a self-assessment afterwards, and the same with their personality. How did I feel when I saw this setup aligning? Okay, was I feeling secure? Was I feeling hesitant? Was I feeling fearful? Why? During the session, okay, the trade went against me. How did I feel? Was in my favor? How did I feel? And after the setup, how did I feel overall? So, journalizing yourself and your trading method uh, gives you a very clear image and a lot of insights of how you're doing in terms of yourself, in terms of your trading, what you need to adapt to tune, and all of them did that. Myself, I did it for a very long time, and you really get to know yourself and your strategy and what should you do, what you should avoid doing. And that's a very important thing they all do. So I would say these three habits, all of them did it. They just have and we all know we need to do these things. We just don't have the discipline to do it. So that would be
Right.
three key habits I would recommend everyone to start doing.
That's beautiful, Sam. That's an area that I feel like a lot of traders struggle with, and honestly, that's something that I struggle with myself. The discipline aspect of it. Like you talk about taking loss as well. I remember the first time I lost like $1,000 in a day US. Heartbroken, heartbroken. Want to
Painful.
do anything but stare at a screen and chart and take a look at my trades and record those trades. There was no interest to be, because of course I just lost all this money. But if we don't record, how are we going to learn? The way that I kind of recovered from that is, I took a couple of days off, and I took my dog for walks, very long walks, as far away from my computer as I could get. Don't worry about it, that type of thing. What do you do when you're going through a drawdown, when you're struggling with discipline? How do you get back on the horse, so to speak?
So let me tell you, Aaron, and you've heard the story about my 14,000 loss. Okay. After that, I realized I would never want to go back into that situation. I don't want to feel that pain again, and I don't want to feel that way never again. So from that day, I decided I would not go that path. If I need to take the loss, I'll just take the loss, okay? Because I know that the day I don't take the loss, I'm exposing myself to suffer another day than like my big losing day. So today, I kind of know that the statistics and the number of my strategies, so kind of expect some of my setups to fail, so I don't have problem, taking the losses, because in advance I not over risking whatever I can afford. So back in the time, as you mentioned, losing $1,000 might be very, very painful. Probably when you grow your account and you're managing, $500,000, you know, losing that $1,000 is not as painful. So you predefine what you're willing to lose, and as long as you stay there, you had that money pre-planned to be lost. So that's it. And so I'm just making sure I'm following my rules, I'm following my processes, and if I need to take the loss, I take the loss. Now, if suddenly I find myself losing a lot of setups are failing more than average, then I ask myself, okay, what's going on here? Am I doing something wrong? Am I taking setups I shouldn't be taking? Am I taking too much risk? Am I getting into low quality setups? Or is simply I'm applying maybe a strategy or a technique on the wrong market conditions. I'm maybe applying a ranging setup on a market that has changes from being ranging into trending. So it's not well aligned. So I go deeper into what's happening with my trading. If am I doing something wrong? Is my strategy needs to be fine tuned, and then I readapt. I do some forward testing with lower risk size and the lot size, and then when I feel comfortable again, I just rebuild my trading and my lot sizes. So that's kind of the process. I check what's wrong myself or the strategy, I rebuild my confidence, and then I'm good to go.
I gotcha. And you do breathing exercises all throughout the whole nine.
All the time, and I know my strategy, so I know a certain amount of times I will be losing, and that's fine. So I'm prepared for those losses. So as long as I'm staying within the normal ranges, I have no problem taking those losses because I know the next trading sessions I'll make that loss back, or the next day, or whatever it is. So I don't struggle with that much.
Congratulations, sir. You've reached a beautiful point in your trading. That sounds like so much freedom for so many traders out there. I'm sure that's a point we're all trying to constantly chase.
Yeah, but let me tell you, Aaron, that really came after the big losing, painful day. I would say, and it's something I have noticed, like traders, since all the prop firm industry has been created and is getting more and more popular, traders are not risking their money anymore, like many of them. So they don't never suffer that because they don't risking their own money. They trading for a company, for a prop firm or something like that. And I can tell you, they don't get to suffer that big loss that helps them at the end of the day to make like a consistent risk management and recovering from losses process. So I don't know if I hadn't suffered that loss, I don't know how else would I, build that process into not going into that losing stage never again. So we'll have to think on a ways of traders that they did not risking their own money, go through that process of really taking the discipline to not lose more than they should be losing.
That's a great point, Saul. That's really interesting to me. So, from your perspective, would it be better for traders to start out, say, trading a micro lot or trading, their own account before jumping into a prop situation? What would you want to see out of your traders at the fivers?
My wish is for them to treat our accounts, our funds, as if they were theirs, okay? Because I know they would treat them much more responsible. But when you're not risking your money, and I manage other firms' money and other prop firms' money, I know you're like you're risk free. So that's a challenge. We need to think. But for my traders, for the fivers, I really want to see them treating our funds as if they were theirs. There's their funds. So yeah, probably going into a personal account, knowing what is to lose your own money would help them, get into that discipline process.
I hear you. And it's really tough to do because there's so much at play there. Like you said, there's so many prop firms out there. There's so much opportunity to get access to much higher funds. And a lot of traders feel like they may have made it by, getting the account. But the thing that keeps them in that account is that discipline that, like you said, you gain from those tougher days and everything like that. Right. I was curious when you had your conversation with Jordan, we didn't get to jump into as much of your career. in terms of your personal trading. So I wanted to know, is there a moment that you can think of where you thought, wow, I've made it. I really am a professional trader now. I'm good at this. Was there a moment where you had that feeling, or did it just fly by?
I had that moment. I have those moments more than once, actually, because it took me 2 years to make it consistent or profitable in a way. So I remember after 2 years, I got the first money to manage, and I was doing great. So that was the first time I say, okay, I'm doing good. And then I remember, into when I went into deeper understanding of the market and key levels and supply and demand areas and trading all of that, I said, okay, back in the time a few years ago when I thought I was already consistent and successful, I realized today I'm more successful than when I was back in the time. So
Right.
every 3 years, I say, okay, I'm way more better today than when I was 3 years ago, 2 years ago, and I have that moment of, okay, I understand what I'm doing. I understand the markets deeper. I understand that relationship between fundamentals and technicals and key levels and sellers and buyers and institutionals. So I have had that moment a couple of times. Really, um, it wasn't. I think the last time I had that was really when I understand concepts of supply and demand, but what really drives the market from behind. I don't think many traders figure or think about what they see on the charts is really the visual representation of a huge market behind, of transactions being run in our. We just come back from the Traders Day Live, an event we ran in London, and
Right.
I had the opportunity to talk to a lot of people, and I told them this story that back in the time I used to trade off the tick charts, and they weren't a bit aware where the tick charts are. I said, yeah. If you go to your platform, you will see you have the option to see the tick charts, and you see literally every transaction coming in and out of the market. And okay, and they told me, okay, what time frame is that? And I told them, no, it's not a time frame. The market is timeless. Okay, the tick chart
Right.
is timeless. You just see all the transactions, and then the chart that the candlesticks are visual representations of the tick charts of the transactions coming into the market. So I think there's a lot to understand in the market of how it works, and uh, and when I went to deeper understanding of the markets, and I know you have a huge understanding of fundamentals and what drives the market. That's the moment when I say, okay, I understand what I'm doing, I understand why things happen, and I understand how to take advantage of those situations. I'm not longer lost on, okay, when a trade goes against me, what that happened, or something like that. So I think that's a very good state to be.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I actually still trade tick charts myself. I trade a totally different product in futures, so I completely understand. So if I'm hearing you right, you said every 3 years you get this feeling. So you've had this 4 times now. You felt like, I'm a
Yeah,
professional. I'm good at this.
yeah, kind of.
That's amazing, man. Okay, that's absolutely fantastic. So I know that there's still so much going on in the market. So I don't want to take up all your time, but I'm so curious about picking your brain on this. Is there anything specific about the journaling portion of things? Because as we talk about all of this stuff, all you're doing is you're giving your auditory journal. This is just your diary that you're speaking about throughout your career. These stories are bits and pieces that you could have written down in your journal over time. Is there anything that's very specific to you that you write down in your journal? You said you don't journal as much anymore, but when you do, are you writing down these stories? Are you writing down more about what you're feeling? What's the situation there?
Um, Again, today I have to say that I don't journal every single session anymore, but
Of
because
course.
I kind of know my numbers enough to say, okay, I know how to recognize when something is wrong and I need to fix it, and also in my emotional side. But back in the time was very, very, very important. And what I did journal, I keep journaling, is these aha moments I have in the market, or like a milestone I achieve, and how can someone implement them as well. So just let me give you an example. So I've run an exercise with Jordan Trading Live, when we pick someone and we ask that trader from the audience to give us, okay, should I be trading today's session long or short? And it's something that many traders don't get. How can we ask someone else to give us the direction? And we came up profitable from all the sessions we've done, in which we asked someone to give us, okay, should I go short or long? And I'll go only short or only long, depending on what you tell me, and I'll make money out of that session. So that was a realization I had time ago, that applying certain techniques and risk management doesn't matter if you pick to go long or short. You can come out of the trading session making money. So that is something that when I discovered that, or when I tried it, when I started like applying my, if you have seen me trading, I just like break my trades and I manage my trades actively. So that's something that I really had to journal and to test and forward test, and it was a really important moment in my career. Today I can do it like in cruise control, okay, like automatically, so I don't have to journal every time. But those milestones or those realizations in the market, I did journal those, and I don't know, maybe I have to do something with all of that. But those kind of aha moments in the market, I did journal those.
I really appreciate that. Like the risk management portion of it is so hard for so many traders to grasp. I've had the pleasure of reading a lot of different financial statements from a lot of hedge funds.
Yep.
And there are a few hedge funds here in the States that literally trade based off of the constellations and the stars. And they don't make a lot of money because Jupiter is in the right position that day. They make a lot of money because they have great risk management, right?
Correct.
And so it's a very odd thing that you could flip a coin and really do well in the markets as long as you're applying the proper risk management skills. And of course, that brings me to probably the most important question I can ask here. From a risk management perspective, so much of that is psychological. You talked about the two key moments in your career being, when you started journaling, you started meditating. It seems that the psychological component, in your opinion, is the most important one. Am I hearing that right?
Yeah, because I think everything is connected and related to everything. So I don't think you can be in a good emotional, psychological state without the proper risk management side. Okay, I think it's all interconnected. So when you have proper risk management and you're not risking more than you should, and you're like in control on every situation in the market, that would help you out with your emotions. Okay, now when you start connecting and when you start understanding, okay, I need to adapt all my strategy, all what I do, to who am I, because at the end of the day, we start with ourselves. We cannot change how we feel, our risk appetite. That's what we do, how we were born, how we, our emotional strength or whatever it is. It's very hard to change that. So let's adapt our training to who we are. So for example, I'll give you an example. I'm very impatient, very, very impatient. And when I started trading, I always heard about let your winnings run, hold your winnings, ride a trade with the trend, cut your losses short, and let your winnings run. All those statements. And as long as I tried, I couldn't. Okay, because I couldn't see a trade going in my favor and keep myself from taking profits. So I understand I needed to adapt the way I trade to who am I, which is an impatient trader. Okay, so I need to. For me, it's easier to take profits quick and do it again and again and again and again than just taking one trade and let it run in my favor. Okay, probably that's the best for many traders. Probably is a better way to make money than what I do. But it doesn't matter because I cannot do it. Okay, I cannot trade that way. So the way I need to trade to feel good and to be in control of myself and what I'm doing is short-term trading, intraday trading, scalping. So I take profits, take profits, take profit, take profit. So instead of having one trade that gives me 100 pips or points, I have 10 trades making for me 10 pips or points. So I have the same outcome, just in probably more work, probably, but it's the way I'm feel comfortable trading. Okay.
Right.
So I think that's very important, that every trader understands who they are, how they feel on every situation, and what's the best trading style for themselves.
So thank you so much, my friend. It's getting towards the end of things, so I don't want to keep you any longer. We have to hop in and do a variety of different things. But Saul, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming on and taking us through all of that. Um, Man, I wish we had more time. We'll have other opportunities to do this again. I have at least 22 more questions written down for you. I wish I was joking, but thank you so much for your take,
Thank
Saul. It's been
you.
an absolute pleasure talking to you, sir. Um, as always, guys, thank you so much for joining us here at Trade Delicious. And if you like what you're seeing, please like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you think down in the comments below. Let us know your opinions on what do you think Saul is saying here in terms of the psychological component. Tell us what you're doing in order to improve your psychology. And as always, please trade well today and trade delicious. We'll see you.